Hi, good afternoon. This is Christine Crowell here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today, I think it's important really that we talk about pricing. What is our price that we're going to be doing in our staffing agency, and how do we find out what to charge? What do we charge, and how do we find that price, for example, to charge? You're a staffing agency, you need to do research. You've got to look around to see what your competitors' prices are. Now, when I say this in the way that you make a phone call and you speak with your competitors to find out what they are charging, what it is that they're offering, and what prices that they are willing to pay for. You could do it as you were going in as a staff member, a nurse or a healthcare worker, for example. You want to know what their rates are. That's one way. Another way is you could be asking for a friend, for example, or a family member, what their prices are, for example. But if you're looking at government contracting, then that's a different story, because then you've got to look at what is the hourly rate to pay the staff member. And I covered this in the 5-week challenge as well. What is the hourly rate that you're going to pay the staff members? So first of all, you've got to find out what type of staff member it is. What type of staff do you want to provide to deliver the service? So if you're looking at a nurse, for example, what is the hourly rate for the nurse? What is the hourly rate for the nurse in your locality, in your location, in your region? What type of nurse? Because it all depends on the level of nurse that you're supplying. Then what is that hourly rate? So is it a licensed practitioner? Is it a registered nurse? Is it a mental health nurse? What type of nurse are you going to provide? And like I said, the more specialist that you become, the higher the rate is going to be. So say, for example, you're charging, say, $50 an hour, for example. Not charging, you're paying the staff member, the nurse, for example, $50 an hour, okay? So that person is going to be paid $50 an hour, no matter what, for example. Then you've then got to look at what your charges are as the business owner. So what rates are you going to charge? Is it going to be 30%? Is it going to be 40%? Is it going to be 50%? Is it going to be 60%? It all depends on where the region is, where the location is, and also what the specialism is. So you may say, okay, I'm going to charge, say, 30% on top. Or another way you can do it is you can say, right, okay, if I'm paying someone $50 an hour, then I want to charge 1.5 or 2 times their hourly rate. You could even go 3 times their hourly rate. It all depends on what the specialisms is. So once you do that, you've then got to think about, okay, so now I said I'm going to pay 50 and I'm charging, say, 1.5 on top. So 1.5 of that is of the 50. So 75 plus 50, that's $125 an hour, for example, okay? But then you've got to think about, okay, I've got to pay the staff 50, right? So it leaves you with the 75 an hour, which is what you're charging. But out of that 75, you've got to think about, is there tax? What tax, employee tax, that you need to pay? What is there any compensation in terms of insurance, any benefits that you need to pay? It depends whether they're temporary workers or whether they're permanent workers, whether it's the UK or the US, okay? So then you've got to think about, okay, so in order for that person to step on the floor of that hospital, for example, what else have I got to pay? You've got your telephone that you're paying for, you've got your software that you're paying for, you've got the mobile phones, you've got all the different aspects that you've got to add up to the last penny in order to show why you are charging £75 or dollars on top of that 50 that staff member is being paid for. So maybe you've got admin staff that you've got to pay for as well, that are in the office that are helping you build the business as well. So think about all of these different charges that you're going to be charging as an organization. Then maybe they are entitled to holiday pay. So what is that holiday pay going to be for the year? So what percentage does that boil down to, or per hour does that boil down to? So for example, if they are entitled to 28 days holiday, what is that broken down throughout the term per hour that they are working for your organization? Because the holiday pay has got to come in to that as well. What about their training as well that you're providing? So what is the rate per hour for the training that you're providing? Also, you got to think about all the other things, the tax that has to be paid. That has to be taken out per hour. So what is that tax? I'm not talking about the tax that the employee pays, because they are paying that out of their wages, for example. But what tax are you charging as an employer that you've got to pay to the revenue, for example? So what does that hourly rate look like? These are all the things that you've got to think about. What insurance are you paying, and what does that equate to per hour for the candidates that you're going to place to work within that organization? I want you to think about all of these things, and maybe there's uniforms that you're paying for. So what is the cost of the uniform that you're going to be paying the candidate for example? You may also be doing their criminal records check. What does that cost? On top of, because you're charging $75 an hour for a reason. It's not for you to just put into your pocket, it's for expenses. Like me, I pay for expenses. Doesn't sit in my pocket. It goes to staff wages, it goes to all the different taxes, it goes to all the bills that has to be paid within an organization, and you have to do the same as well. You got to invest in your business. So what other things do you need to think about in order for that staff member to go out to work for your organization? So then this is when you're looking at placing a staff member temporary, for example. If you're doing permanent placement, then the rates are different. But today I'm referring to temporary placement. What rates are you going to charge? Because at the end of the day, we're keeping things to ourselves as trainers, as coaches, and we should tell people what they've got to pay for. So you got to pay for your insurance. What is your insurance costing you per month for your organization? There's the cost of your website. What is that costing you, for example? What is your hosting costing you per month? What is your telephone costing you per month? What is your mobile costing you per month? Maybe you got another business mobile. What is that costing you per month? What about your lighting, your electricity, for example? What is that costing you per month? What are your expenses? Maybe you got an office, or maybe you got a virtual office. What is that costing you per month? All of these things you need to put on a spreadsheet to work out what your hourly rate is. And then according to the number of hours that that person is going to be going out to work for your organization, then that will determine the rate that you're going to charge per hour, per week. So I hope that that's been helpful to you. And I want you to get a spreadsheet and put those things down that I've said. And then I want you to work out what that's going to cost you as an organization out of that £75 an hour, for example, on top of that staff member's hourly rate. So I hope that was helpful to you. Do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel here so that I can do further training to help you to understand the aspects of running a staffing business or healthcare business, medical staffing business, recruitment care agency business. Work out what your rates are. What prices do you charge? I've got further videos on here, but I just wanted to point this out now because things are changing. And yes, some of you are working from home, but you still have things to pay for. So I hope that that was helpful to you all. Do like and subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and I look forward to the next training with you on this YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you. Bye.